All right, we'll call to order the December 8th Finance Committee meeting. We'll go ahead and do approval of the agenda. So, go ahead and approve the agenda. Yep, Cynthia Powell. Then, anything second? All right, all in favor? Everybody in favor? All right.
In favor.
Approved. And then, do we have any public comments? Good. Public here? No? You're good? All right. All right. Banking services contract extension. Let's go.
Okay, first thing, yay, happy that everybody is here today in December on this cloudy day. Use some sun. Talking about banking services, will be sunny. How about that? So our banking services that we wanted to talk to y'all about is that currently right now, DD2 is serviced by Bank of America. Our original service date began with them in August 2002. On my notes, I wrote Liz in parentheses because Liz, who was our internal auditor at the time, she's now our director of financial services, went out on maternity leave and came back, and we had switched to Bank of America. So we've had a longstanding, a great relationship with them, and we've done great things with Bank of America since then. The latest RFP that we have issued was in March of 2018. We had 5 banks respond at that time. We had South State. I'm looking over there at my finance folks to help me remember. We had South State, First Citizens, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Did I say First Citizens already? I believe there's one other big bank. Sorry that I did not write that down. So some of the local players and the big players responded to offer for us to go with them for banking services. So we committee and we scored, and based on best earnings and fee structures, number of branches that they were able to provide us services. Also working with the purchasing cards program, we selected Bank of America and entered into a contract with them to continue our services again, but we went out for a formal RFP. So folks had the option, different banks had the option to submit proposals. So as we were in the process of adopting the state procurement code for DD2, a couple of years ago when the board was doing that, we were ending our 5-year contract with Bank of America. So we signed an extension of our contract. So we were in a 2-year extension of that 5-year contract with Bank of America. So during this extension, so we have now until December of 2026 to be with Bank of America. So during this extension time, they've offered us an additional extension for 3 years, for 5 years, with reduced fees and opportunity for higher earnings credits. Another point of interest is that in the procurement code that y'all adopted, that we are now in line with state procurement, banking services is exempt. So we don't have to go out for any formal type of RFPs for banking services, but we can. So we could just request informal information from other banks and look over it and bring it to the board, or we could do a formal solicitation through an RFP. So while we're very satisfied with the services of Bank of America, we were just at this critical point right now where we could go out. Do we want to go out? And we just wanted to bring that to the board and see if you had some thoughts. And also we just want to make sure that Bank of America is still being competitive with what they're offering to us. If we were to go out for a formal RFP, we would request to do that in time, like maybe in the spring, so that we would have some time to evaluate, have our committee, and then be able to have everything in place before the end of December of next year, moving into a new calendar year and the end of the extension. Again, we don't have to. We're pleased with Bank of America. This just came up. We talked about it at the last meeting, so I just wanted to bring that.
Do you know, I guess your fellow CFOs use in other districts, neighboring districts, or?
It just depends, I think, on like who is prominent in their areas. Okay. I think the reason we went with Bank of America last time was because they had more branches.
Okay.
And at this time, I don't think they have more branches. They're doing more
Consolidation.
electronic services. We have the electronic, we have the ability to do the electronic checks, or we can just deposit those electronically. So I don't think they have more branches now. That wouldn't give them a leg up over anyone. It would be more of the fee structure and the earnings credits that we could get. We just haven't been out in 5 years to ask.
All right.
I think we should consider it. It's been that long since we competed, but
So
there's some time
when
to make that decision.
you're saying where are we getting the extension? I'm sorry.
From Bank of America,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Where are we? What time?
Until December of 26.
December of 26.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we renew yearly, every year?
But we had a 5-year contract and
Oh,
then
5
an
years.
extension for 2 years.
Okay. So our local banks, they have not been able to compete, or they haven't even suggested?
So they have, so the last time, 5 years ago, they came to us. We also had, Mr. Doherty and I met with First Citizens Group, the banking services that we,
Was Mr. Mitchum there or no?
he was there. Yes, he was there. And so I think that there's more interest now in maybe us
Okay.
moving. We didn't really want to move our referendum dollars at the time, whenever we brought that back to the finance committee, which that was the First Citizens. They were asking us to move some of our referendum money, but we already have that secured with the local government investment pool. So we didn't feel like that was, when we brought that to the board finance committee, we didn't feel like it was the time for us to move those funds. But maybe if there was another opportunity. So this could be our other opportunity.
Is there really any reason not to? Not to go out for the RFP? Seems like, I mean,
It would be a lot of work to move banks, just because we have so much and we have, there's just a lot of little details and nuances with how it's set up.
so it'd have to be really worth it. Like, I mean, maybe for gains.
Well, it could be.
Could be, yeah,
It's the cost of
Yeah.
preparing the request
sure.
and then
Sure.
dealing with the decision and what the implementation costs, what the transition costs might be.
So possibly springtime, we can go out for an RFP and then we can bring that back to y'all later in fall. How about that?
Okay, that sounds like a good plan.
We'll do that. Thank you. All right.
Budget calendar.
All right, that's the
Let's do
next item, our draft budget calendar that we prepared. I have copies if anybody wanted to see one. Slide paper cup.
So you're here to tell us you've done with the budget for
Yes,
next
the
year?
budget is
Ready to
balanced
start?
and let's just rock and roll. We're ready for the new year.
Right.
Looking for a surplus.
And our budget director, Lisa, found more money,
Yeah.
so we are. we're- So we've been working on this budget calendar for a couple years and we've just, Mr. Doherty asked if we could maybe expand it a little more and include some more of our internal meetings. So we just, included in here that, we're meeting with schools and departments. Lisa's putting together an electronic budget packet to send to all the schools and the departments. We've done that, we did that last year, but we're officially putting it in our budget calendar. And we are going to do some meetings a little sooner this year, just to get ahead of the game. Our enrollment and staffing allocation meetings, we're going to start working on those in January. They probably have already started those. If I know my friend Dr. Wilson back there, he's probably already started. I know he started with his departments about developing their 27 budgets. Mr. Doherty asked us to have cabinet budget presentations this year, so we've included that on the calendar as well. So when we get down to March is when we will be coming to y'all, because we don't really get good revenue numbers until the end of March. And then sometimes we get updated numbers from the county in April. We're hoping that we can work with them and get some good solid numbers the first time in March. That would be great. So we'll work on that with the county auditor. And then just bring you the various presentations and do some public input meetings. We don't really get our numbers again from the state until the end of March. So we wanted on March 23rd to bring y'all just the budget updates then to the actual board. We can have a finance committee meeting in March to give you the legislative outlook. And discuss any budget numbers. What we try to do is we start with our, we don't try to, we do. We gather all of the needs from all of the departments and all the schools, and we gather all of that information together. And we work in various sections in priority order. And that's what we will, after we compile all the needs, put the revenues that we know we're going to get towards those, and then see what would be the next in line for priorities. And then y'all did such a great job working with the county last year, and hopefully they will be amenable to us working as closely with them again this year. If maybe we should invite them to some of our meetings, that would be fun. I think the one-on-one meetings that y'all had were perfect last year. They worked very well. You're very well versed in them. So we'll just make sure that we continue to bring y'all all the information so that you can speak to it and know where we are.
And I like the idea of them coming to some of our meetings because I don't think they're knowledgeable or else they have not gotten probably a upfront face look at this. So that would be good. And they can ask questions, etc.
Sure, we can formally invite them.
And the other thing is gives the board, if there's anything the board would like to see, there's some things into the budget as well. I think we've talked about that. I know we've talked about the salary schedule for administrators is we need to correct that. Now, Dr. Wilson has got a salary committee together and they're really looking at that. And I know Lisa Sizzler's worked with them to look around other districts, surrounding districts, what administrators are getting paid. Because I think that there's not a real formal schedule there. And I know I've talked with Dr. Wimber a little bit about that as well. But just trying to figure out, can we afford those things? And I think that's when it comes down to what that budget's going to be. We had a roundtable meeting with superintendents, and usually the budget that comes from the House is a little bit lower than what the Senate, then it goes to the Senate. Usually what the House is kind of what most of the I would say corporations or districts.
Well, that's what we start with. That's our
that.
first presentation to you is always based on the House Ways and Means numbers. And then we always hope there's going to be an increase from the Senate, but we work off of the House numbers.
And the other piece we'll look at too, I know we right-sized the district last year with 54 positions that we right-sized. We are up this year a little bit with student count enrollment numbers. And so is there a little bit of areas that we can still save in? We'll look here at the district office. We'll look at buildings, look at the class sizes, make sure we still stay within those parameters. But again, where are some areas that can we save here and then reallocate there in a different place? And I think just listening to what the board did when they were talking with county folks, I think they really appreciated us trying to really tighten the belt before we asked for any allocations. We did everything we could on our side to try to save some money, to try to give as much money as we could to our people. And so I think everybody did a great job. We'll do that same thing again, where we'll ask, all the requests will be based on the high school. I'll give you an example. So students will start coming up with schedules and all those course requests will come in. And then you'll say, okay, do you need these positions in some of there? And so those will, some things we'll be having those conversations with high school. Middle school's a little bit different because they're kind of already set with their classes, and same thing with elementary. Elementary, we had to move. If we do some redistricting, we'll have to reallocate some resources to other buildings. And so those are all things that will kind of come into play. So we'll put all those things on the list. I know last year we had a person that we wanted to see work with our personnel department about new teacher retention and just have a person that could work with that teacher. I think we talked about that. That was on the list last year, and it did not make the cut. So that'll be on the list again this year, but we think that could be taken out of a grant. And so those are things that we're trying to be creative on those things there. So I know some of those things didn't make the cut, but again, we'll put them on the list.
So much money, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah,
And so
show our
if there are
needs.
things the board has a pass, or you saying, hey, can we do something like that? We'll put those in there as part of that process as well.
Couple of observations. It's still too tight for my taste and doesn't allow the opportunity for meaningful discussion. We are dependent on literally, you're dealing with forecasts and guesses in terms of revenue up until the end of March, beginning of April. Okay, so we can do our best to plug a number and say, this is what we think. We won't really have anything to really back that up or give us a confidence in what our estimates are. But that's the reality. But to your point, what I'd like to see if we could is what are our goals, our financial goals, and what are they being driven by for this upcoming year? You mentioned the fact that, retention is from a district, one of our goals. So what do we got to do? It's not all money, but it clearly will impact the budget. What do we need? Okay, based on our growth, projected growth, and everything else that's happening. And then any other goals that we want to bring forward from things that we deferred last year. Okay, because you had a list of wants and needs, and a lot of the wants got deferred. But to have those kinds of conversations earlier, I would feel better. So we can really debate that, because if it comes down to, look, we think that the financial projections are going to be X. Okay, we limit everything to X and we don't take into consideration what priorities do we have to set. There are things we have to do. There are things we would like to do. There are things that'd be nice to do. Okay. The fact of the matter is we are going to be looking and staring down the gun barrel next year of the fact that we are not going to be the highest paid district in the low country. Okay. And unless there's some sweeping windfall I'm not aware of, that's a big gap to make up. And we already know that some of our surrounding districts are planning on substantial benefits. Well, what can we do to prepare to respond to that? What do we have to do to prepare to respond to that and be proactive? I mean, one of the things that has been heartwarming for me in the first year on the board is, when I've talked to teachers and everything, they've been candid. We're not the highest paid district. That's not the first thing on their mind, though. They always talk about the climate in DD2, part of a family, the intangibles, if you will, that keep them here. Well, in the course of focusing on the financials, let's not lose sight of the intangibles that we have to maintain as well, or we're going to lose out. So, to the degree that, we can move up some of those discussions to make sure we are in agreement on what the goals are that are going to have financial impact. And then if we need to have more conversations, then we're planning and intentional about having them rather than waiting till April when we get a projected number, which is still not the final number, right? Okay.
Close to fine.
It's close to final, but then at the end of this, it's really tight. Okay, because we're dealing with county council deadlines, we've got our own deadlines, we have to approve a budget and everything else. So if there's any way we can kind of think about some of those things and drive some of those conversations, I think that would be good.
I think I would agree. I mean, again, what is our goal for, again, when you're looking at that salary, you're looking at the salaries of, your classified and your, and also your certified. And we just had an interesting stat. Mr. Shope was pulling together attendance, for the bonuses for our bus drivers, and see if attendance helps. Went down a little bit in October, did come back up. So you'll get some information on that in the coming weeks. But again, it's been interesting to see, but it has helped because we had buses coming out of there by 4:15 at Somerville High School on a more consistent basis because we have more drivers. And so they're showing up and we're getting dazed. So it has helped us more than it's hurt us. I know we're spending money and dollars for that, but when we're looking at a service, we're providing a service for our families and our students. It has helped. So we will share some of that information with you in the coming weeks here. So we just got some of that just because we were curious to see how much that's helped. But again, you can see it is helping. Our money is helping drive that service. And I know our principals appreciate that as well. So they're not out there until, 5 o'clock waiting for some of those buses. So that's been good. That's been a good positive there.
And I was going to say too, Mr. Lee, we usually do a winter board retreat. So January, early February. So I think some of the things that you're talking about would be great for us to address and just have some good discussions about it, because that'll kind of kick it off from our perspectives. So we will make sure we have that as a big part of the agenda.
Sounds great. Yeah, because we had Finance Committee March 9th, but yes, January, February. Yeah.
And you were talking about that was bonus for the bus drivers. And I think was it last year we had some type of bonus or whatever offered, the teachers got or whatever, and there was some confusion. And so some people weren't really clear as to why A got this, B got that. So I think we also need to make sure our message is clear at the very beginning. This is how you're being rewarded, so that there's no room for confusion unless you just intend to be confused.
I agree.
All right, awesome.
Good comments. Thank
Calendar,
you.
yeah. Look forward to it. All right. Anything else, anybody wants to? All right, perfect. Any public comment? Still none? All right, we had a motion to adjourn.
Well, I want to say this, I forgot you ended so quickly. I want to thank Tina and her group for the presentation. I mean, even I was able to read it and basically
reports that I
understand what I was
sent today,
looking
did I-
at. And I love the colors, so that helped keep me interested. So continue, thank you, thank you.
Good. You are welcome.
All right.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Good.
All right,